Hi friends, Tina Lala here, and today I am at Magic Kingdom, and I'm going to talk to you about something that I'm really passionate about, and that is being Pooh-sized. So being Pooh-sized doesn't just mean that you're fat. It could be anything. It could be you're somebody who's over 6 feet. It could be that you're a bodybuilder. It could be that you have really big muscles because you're dancing or a lot of walking. Whatever it is, you don't fit the average size for seats. I've set up a criteria that's honey pot, one honey pot, and that means you're piglet size, or you're 3 honey pots, which means you're Pooh size. So you're either a piglet or a Pooh. So we're gonna ride different rides, and I'm gonna give you the criteria of what I think that ride is based on my honey pot scale, and we'll be able to see, is it a tight squeeze, which is a 1 honey pot, or is it a nice comfortable fit, which would be a 3 honey pot. So let's go get on some rides. Let's go. The first ride I'm going to take you on is the train from Main Street. The train car is pretty easy to step up into, and each car has these nice wooden bench seats that most guests fit comfortably in. I recommend trying to sit in the front seat of the car like I am here because it provides you with more leg space than the average seats on the car, and there's no lap restraint, and everyone has room across the bench. This is why I consider the train to be a 3 honey pot ride.
On this train, it's never goodbye. It's always see you real soon.
Okay, so we're over here at Jungle Cruise. So let's talk about the Jungle Cruise. Now it's a boat you have to step into. Usually I need help stepping into the boat, but overall the seats are just a bench. There's enough space to stretch out a bit in front of you. And as long as there's space between you and the person next to you, it's really a 3 honey pot for me. Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's a ride that's actually a 2 honey pot. The reason for that is if you get in one of those seats and you're right up front, it really squeezes your knees. The other rows give the average person enough space for their legs, but anyone over 6 feet could definitely have trouble cramming their legs into this space. It's a 2 honey pot for Pirates of the Caribbean. On to the next. We've been watching test runs of the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure ride on and off the last few weeks, and things look good. Disney recently dropped the name of the new gift shop for the Disneyland ride, but we haven't heard anything for Walt Disney World. Days later, the water was dried up and construction signs were up saying we were in test mode, but what I want to talk about are the videos out there with Disney workers doing practice runs, and here you can see lap bars, which is one thing Disney said that they would be installing when the new ride opened up. I zoomed into the logs that I saw running the other day, and there does seem to be what I think are the lap bars in the boats. It'll be interesting to see how comfortable those are, since there's supposed to be 2 people per row, and lots of times when the lap bars come down, it's not always good for Pooh-sized people. But I will stay on top of this. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss when Tiana's Bayou Adventure is opening summer of 2024. In Frontierland, what's really great is there's some great places to sit. Like over here, there's this little alcove with a bench seat. So you can come on over and take a break. While your friends and everybody and family, while they're on different rides, you can sit here and take a break. There's even a spot to put your feet up. Look. Well, maybe not for me. Now on to the next. It had been a hot minute since I had been on Big Thunder Mountain, and I wasn't sure about these little bitty carts and their lap bars. However, the cart was easy to get into. I was able to fit in what is usually a seat for 2. The lap bar did come down easily, but I'd have to say legroom is not an option. Your knees are right up against the front wall, so if you're someone who is 6 feet or over, it's going to be tough. Once you get going on this ride, over the hills and valleys, you are double checking that lap bar is going to keep you in, and it was definitely secure for me. Also, I usually hook my backpack around my knees because the places they usually give you for your bags are way too small for my backpack. And through the sharp hairpin turns, I had to actually readjust my bag a few times because it was all over the place. So be sure all your zippers are securely zipped before you start this ride. Not to mention, I slid all over the cart with these turns, so if you're in this cart with a friend, warn them up front that they will be crushed. Big Thunder is the 8th fastest ride of all Walt Disney rides, coming in at 36 miles per hour. All right, friends, we're over here at Big Thunder Mountain. For me, Big Thunder Mountain, It's like a 2 or 3 honey pod. The seats are wide enough. The lap bar comes down easily. The only thing I would say is, if you have any issue with you and someone else in your seat, then just ask the cast member to sit alone, and it'll make the ride much more easier for you. So that's Big Thunder Mountain. On to the next. So a Tina tip, one of the things that I like to do when I come to Magic Kingdom is actually take a paper towel and put it right here in my bra. I know that sounds crazy, but that helps to absorb all the sweat that might build up right there. Also, if you're not sweaty like me, I am sweaty. So I need that extra little absorbance to be able to keep the sweat back. I also have a separate one that I use so that I can wipe my brow or my eyes if they're tearing up. But it's definitely a nice way to, sweating is the way that your body cools yourself off, but you want to be able to get that sweat away from your body as soon as you can. So using that paper towel really helps absorb the sweat and helps to keep you cooler while you're at the park. Just a Tina tip. Now on to the next. Let's talk about the Haunted Mansion. That's my favorite ride. Haunted Mansion, that dune buggy, you just slide right in, they pull the lap bar down, no big deal. Haunted Mansion for me is a 3 honey pot ride. Highly recommended. And now on to the next. Another really great place to stop is over here at the Liberty Square Market. They've got these great little tables everywhere. You don't have to purchase anything over there at the market to be able to sit here. So it's a great place to sit, get some water, wait for everybody. Maybe they're on Big Thunder Mountain or they're on Haunted Mansion, but just come on over, have a seat, get yourself a drink, refill, cool off, and on to the next. Okay, It's a Small World. Now, It's a Small World is a boat ride. Boat rides have usually been fine. The biggest thing I will say, though, you don't want to sit in that front seat because that's where your knees and everything will be really tight. But It's a Small World, like a 2 or 3 honey pot. And now on to the next. Peter Pan's Flight. Now, this ride always has a huge wait for standby, which I have never been able to figure out why. But let's talk about these pirate ships. Now, I was able to very easily step into the pirate ship. Now, I failed miserably with taking a picture of myself in the ship because honestly, I'm always afraid that this darn ship is going to crash down onto Nana the dog in the first room because of my size, but it doesn't. I mean, these ships have a good amount of space for the lap bar, which is closed via pixie dust by the cast members, and we're away. I'm always surprised how these flying ships easily sway in the air no matter how many people are in them. And the leg space is actually pretty ample. There's even a space up in the front that you can extend your legs slightly. So for those very tall people, they can have that extra extension. As you swing around the corner, getting ready to crash into Mermaid Lagoon, I mean soar above London, destined to crash into Big Ben. Well, okay, so maybe don't crash anywhere, but it is really amazing that these ships fly above high. There's plenty of room inside for myself, and another person could fit in this ship. So it's definitely large enough for multiple people or someone of good size, good height. I highly recommend Peter Pan's Flight if you can get on it. This is definitely a 3 honey pot for me. Now on to the next. Alright, so Prince Charming's Royal Carousel is amazing. And it's like any other average carousel. But what I will say is there are some spots where there are little seats to sit. So anybody who is Pooh-sized can be able to find a spot. Otherwise, the horses themselves, they can be a little tight. So it's like a 2 honey pot. All right. With the carousel, I wanted you to see the bench seats so that you can see there's only one set. They do allow for multiple people, but they also allow for plenty of leg space. I personally can't get myself up onto one of these horses, but I think the bench seat or standing by a child would be the way to ride. Did you know that this is the oldest ride in all of Magic Kingdom because it was originally built in 1917 by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company and then later acquired by Walt Disney for the October 1971 opening. Also, here's a Tina tip. You want to create a magical moment for your family? Find the horse with the golden bow on its backside. It's in the second row from the outside and its head is up like this. This is rumored to be Cinderella's horse and can really be an exceptional moment for someone special. And on to the next. All right, so now we're over here at the PhilharMagic. Now that is a show. And the seats themselves can be a little tight, so I do consider that a 2 honey pot because the seats can be a little tight for the average person. So you might want to be standing room only in the back, or sometimes the seats can fit. You just have to check them out. And on to the next. Our next ride is Winnie the Pooh, the grand poobah of our series. The car for this ride is a giant honey pot with 2 rows, and about 1 or 2 people can fit in each row. I find the honey pots reasonably sized. The lap bar does come down at a good spot, and I don't feel claustrophobic or snug, although I have a bit of a girth issue, so when I'm trying to get in and out, it takes a hot minute. But the opening of the pots is a bit snug, and I have to do a bit of a ballet in order to exit the vehicle, but take comfort in knowing that the cast members are very patient to wait until you've gotten out. The bench seat inside is a good size for anyone under 6 feet. There is a little bit of a lip inside where you can put your feet and stretch out a little bit, but I think if you might have issues with no leg room. So even though I love Winnie the Pooh, I have to give the Winnie the Pooh ride 2 honey pots. Sorry, Pooh. Hi friends, found another great spot to sit right over here on the other side of these walls. On the back side of the castle, they've got these great stone walls. This is also a really good spot to see the fireworks, considering they actually go out over here somewhere. So this is a really great spot if you want to sit and relax, get a drink, give your feet a break, and on to the next. Yeah, the mine ride. Well, the mine ride for me is a 1 honey pot. That one's a tough one. You sit in these really tight confined carts. Your knees get really squished in. It's not really a very comfortable ride if you're Pooh-Sized by any means. Okay, so I found this picture that shows a rider's legs, and he must be a runner because this lap bar comes down hard and tight on his legs. And the lap bar is actually per rider, not per cart. So if your thighs are the larger area for you, you may not fit comfortably. I'd also say that if you're over 6 feet tall, there's nowhere to put your legs or stretch out, and they'll be pressing right up against the front of that car. So just be aware of the discomfort you might have on the minecart ride. So I just thought I'd mention the Seven Dwarfs minecart ride is the 9th fastest ride of all Walt Disney rides, coming in at 34 miles an hour. Piglet size is perfect, but for somebody who's a little bit Pooh-sized, it's a little tight. So it's a 1 honey pot for me. And on to the next. So here's another Tina tip. One thing that I like to do with my water bottle is not only put ice and water into it, but I also put one of the packets of Propels in there. That way, it gives me some extra electrolytes while I'm at the park. So not only am I getting fluids from the water, but the electrolytes from the Propel packet. There's a lot of electrolyte brands out there, and I'm not sponsored by Propel, but definitely find the best electrolyte packet for you and drop it in your water to keep it nice and cool, and it'll give you that little extra bump during the day. And on to the next. The Little Mermaid ride. Well, first let me say the queue for this ride is like hiking the Appalachian Trail. It's long, winding, and full of adventure. Not that I would know, but Ariel's Clam-mobiles are easy to get into. The lap bar does easily go down into place. You can see I had plenty of knee room, which makes it good for anyone 6 feet tall. And there were plenty of space for myself and another person. So for me, the Little Mermaid ride is a 3 honey pot. And on to the next. Okay, the Dumbo ride. The Dumbo ride's a great ride because everybody can ride it. It's definitely a 3 honey pot ride where if you're not comfortable riding with other people, then just tell your cast member you can ride by yourself. But it's definitely a ride that everybody can ride. If you want to make sure that you're going to fit comfortably on the Dumbo ride, there is a model elephant in between the 2 Dumbo rides that's there for you to take pictures. But more importantly, step up these steps and get into Dumbo and see how comfortable it is for you to fit. I have a tough time getting into Dumbo. The space to actually get into it is a little tough for me, but overall I think most people are going to find it comfortable, and I do give Dumbo a 3 honey pot rating. And on to the next. Okay, the Barnstormer is a really great ride for kids and adults to ride together. There is a lap bar, so be sure that you can fit underneath there, but besides that, Barnstormer is a pretty great ride. And on to the next. Starland Speedway is a tough one. There are times when you're a little too tall, you're not going to have a lot of leg room. If you get a little bit of a belly, you're not going to be able to have any space between the steering wheel, but overall I give it a 2 honey pots. It's a great ride, it's got some limitations. And on to the next. The Mad Tea Party. Well, my favorite character is not my favorite ride, but what I will tell you is this ride can be kind of tough. If you're really tall, you might not be able to fit your legs in to stretch out. If you have a big belly like me, then you might not be able to really reach around the spin thing in the center to make yourself go around. So it's really a tough ride in order to comfort for yourself, and that's why it's a 2 honey pot for the Mad Tea Party. And on to the next. Carousel of Progress is a great show. The seats are comfortable, but for somebody who has a girth issue like me, being Pooh-sized can make for a very tight squeeze, and that's why for Carousel of Progress it is a 2 honey pot. And on to the next. Space Mountain is the 10th fastest ride of all Walt Disney World rides, coming in at 27 miles per hour, and is kind of a tough one to judge. Each rocket seats 3 people, and there is a lap bar that should come down around your waist. Now, when I say it's tough to judge, it's because people who are 6 feet above may find that there's limited leg space and it's very uncomfortable. For those who have girth issues like me, I was more comfortable in the second and last seat. As you can see from this picture here, I was in the middle seat and I did have some room, and as long as the lap bar clicks once, you're pretty good. But I'll tell you, football players, people over 6 feet, they have had some issues being able to fit in this ride. And also, it's tough getting out of this ride. I climbed out and actually needed help. So keep that in mind if you're going to be going on this ride, that you're going to probably need someone to help you out. So that's why Space Mountain is a 2 honey pot for me. And on to the next. Welcome, Space Ranger, to the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. These Omnimover vehicles are spacious enough, giving plenty of area for you and a friend to defend the galaxy regardless of size or height. You can see here I have plenty of room between me and the space controller to defeat Zurg, and this is why Buzz Lightyear is a 3 honey pot ride.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
The Monsters, Inc. laugh floor is a great break to the day in Tomorrowland. You walk into an open theater with bench seats, no lap bars, no limitations in any way. I wouldn't say the benches were comfortable, but for the 10-minute comedy routine, it's perfectly fine. And with that, I give it a 3 honey pot for the Monsters, Inc. laugh floor. The long-awaited Tron Light Cycle Run Ride. Tron is the 3rd fastest ride of all the Walt Disney World rides, with speeds clocking in up 60 miles per hour. Now you finally got into the queue and you finally got your boarding group called. You have to walk this very long walk up to the boarding area where you will see this sign that pretty much says, if you are Pooh-sized, you might not be able to ride this ride. Please use the seat to confirm your ability to ride. What the heck? Now before you get upset, let's do this together. Here's the sample seat. It's the real thing. Now, I jumped on knowing I would not fit on this ride, but I wanted you to see where the limitations were. My butt is way too big. The back wouldn't even close. My calves are also too big. The bar that slides to the back of your knees wouldn't slide. However, there is an accessibility chair that no one's been talking about. Yes, this is the chair that handy-capable people would be using. However, this is the option that cast members will provide to anyone who cannot fit in the regular cycle. I've ridden in this accessibility chair. Is there that much of a difference? Not really. You're still being zipped through at 60 miles per hour through the dips and turns and having an amazing experience. The only drawback is that there's only 1 chair per cycle. And sometimes, even though there's 2 cycle runs going, there's only 1 that actually has the chair. So you have to wait for it to come around. I've even stood back so that handy-capable people could ride first. But honestly, it's the best option to ride Tron if you don't make the sample cycle happy. This is why I give Tron a 2 honey pot. Welcome aboard the beloved TTA People Mover. This is a glorious ride late at night or just when you're tired and you need to give your feet a rest. There are no lap bars, no restraints, and no matter how tall you are, once you leave the queue area, feel free to put your feet across to the other seat. Sit by yourself or share the car with another, it's totally up to you. My only issue with this ride is a slight hindrance getting into it because of the opening size compared to my backside. But otherwise, the People Mover is a 3 honey pot ride. And oh, by the way, down at the entrance of the People Mover, they've moved the old-timey turnstile so almost everyone can get through it. So if this was like hindering you from riding this ride, that's been changed. But this is a great ride to be able to see all of Tomorrowland. I love to ride it just as the fireworks are either starting or just ending. It has a great close-up view of the castle as well as Tron. And it's the only ride where you will see Walt Disney's vision of Epcot. Make sure the People Mover is on your list of must rides when at Magic Kingdom. It is superior for being able to relax and see everything and really enjoy Tomorrowland. Let me just add this. Yes, there's almost always a long line to get on this ride, but this is a continuously moving ride, so don't let the long line mislead you. The wait times are usually not that crazy. Don't use a lightning lane for it. Just get in line and enjoy. So how'd we do? Were there any surprises? Well, stay tuned for upcoming videos that will give you Pooh reviews on rides at other Disney parks, as well as Tina tips to help you get through the day. Just remember, whatever size you are, be the best that you can be, and you're perfect just who you are. Are you hungry for some seafood? Well, let's head over to the Beach Club Resort and check out what's on the buffet menu at Cape May Cafe. Let's go!